Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Jason Mackey's First 10, a podcast to get you ready for the day. And this is a special one here. Really excited about this, given our guest and the subject matter at hand. But first, want to let you know that we are sponsored by the Northford Tavern across from PNC Park. It's Pittsburgh's home for steak on a stone. You don't have to be a baseball fan to love it. There, the interior is wall-to-wall Pirates. There are appetizers, entrees, cocktails, and of course, steak and seafood on a sizzling lava stone. I'll shut up because I'm not the important person on this podcast. It's the person next to me, Jay Johnson, LSU coach. You've probably seen him. Jay, thank you so much for joining me. And he has just a tremendous lens of insight into Paul Skenes. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Jason. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. And I texted you this evening to get some intel, and I love sort of the way you operate with Skenes. Anything for Paul, happy to talk about him. He seems like, such a difficult person to deal with. So appreciate you squeezing it in. What was your reaction when you found out he was called up?
Yeah, honestly, it's just like the inevitable, I mean, the only question was like, maybe what was the Pirates' plan? And, but I mean, he's ready. I mean, I would make an argument he was ready in, Omaha last year or in the back half of our season, to be a major league pitcher. And obviously the talent is special. I think the Pirates were very fortunate to have the number one pick last year because, I mean, I can't talk enough about how great a person this guy is and how solid he is in terms of character, leadership, commitment to his craft, all of the above. I mean, this for me, it's a once in a lifetime pitcher that I'll ever have. And more importantly, a once in a lifetime person. Like, he was only here for 1 year, but I mean, he was clearly the leader of our team and just a special guy, and really excited for him and excited for Saturday. And all of Pittsburgh should be very excited about this.
I think they are. I know they are. He hasn't pitched here yet, but I can assure you this city loves Paul Skenes, and Saturday is going to be a lot of fun. The second question I had written down, Jay, was did it surprise you at all? But hearing you talk and answer the first one, I'm guessing the answer is no.
Yeah, not at all. And, I had just seen a little bit of snippets of what he'd done recently. But, having a little more insight in the offseason, I mean, he was back here for a good period of time and working incredibly hard, as he always does. And just the commitment to get to the next thing of improvement, development, readiness. I mean, this guy takes preparation to another level. And I didn't feel like it would be long, just in terms of the talent is, generational, the person is exceptional, and just his focus, that he had this offseason. I not only is he going to be a great pitcher for the Pirates, like the Pirates pitching staff is going to be better for having him, just from I'm sure he's going to, show a lot of guys the way, just, not really by talking or, pushing anything on anybody, just the way that he works. And, he commands your attention and your respect immediately, by how he does those things.
Yeah. The Pirates pitching staff, by the way, this was something I wanted to get to a little bit later, but we might as well get into it now. I don't know how much have you paid attention to what they have here? I mean, right now we're looking at Paul Skenes joining Jared Jones. It's pretty
well, it's a funny story. I mean, I recruited Jared Jones very hard when I was the head coach at the University of Arizona, and he committed to USC early on, like almost maybe even as an eighth grader or a freshman, and then he decommitted like going into his senior year, and then it came down to us in Texas, and he chose Texas, and but I know Jared very well, and his dad Keith's a great guy, and he was one of those like baseball prodigy guys, that you knew very young he was going to be pretty incredible, and he's obviously lived up to that. And again, like, I think that's pretty exciting for the Pirates to have those guys.
Yeah. So you were an assistant at the University of San Diego when Strasburg was at San Diego State. Obviously, there have been a ton of comparisons with Paul and Stephen. Wanted to ask you how Paul reminded you of Stephen, and also how you see those two as different.
Yeah, I think the similarities are the dominance in college. And, I had a unique run when I was the associate head coach and hitting coach at San Diego. We beat Tim Lincecum. We beat David Price, a lot of marquee, future major league pitchers. over my time there. But Stephen Strasburg, that we could not beat him, whether he was coming out of the pen as a closer, as a freshman, or a dominant starter the next 2 years. So, Paul and Stephen remind me of each other just in terms of dominance. I would say Stephen in college would go to his breaking ball a little bit more, to get outs and strikeouts. I think one night he struck us out like 18 times, and through like 81 sliders and like 120 pitch outing. Where with Paul, like even in the SEC last year and playing the schedule that we did, he could dominate with just fastball command, and then the second time around go to the breaking ball or slider, and the changeup got better. And he'd have outings where he'd have unbelievable fastball command and could just ride that. He'd have outings where the slider and changeup run hittable and mix. And so, it's been a long time, since 2009, but I just think Paul, for as physically imposing and dominating as he is and how good the fastball is, he is a true pitcher in every sense of the word. And the dominance and the physicality of both of them would probably be the biggest similarities.
Yeah, it's really been amazing watching Paul. I obviously knew of his velocity. I knew of like 2 or 3 pitches that were really good. The depth of his arsenal has been so much fun to like realize and watch and analyze and see change, see him pull things out. And like, you're right. He truly is. He's a pitcher. He's not a thrower.
Yeah. One of my favorite memories of just his performance last year is in the regular season, we played Kentucky and we scored a lot of runs that night and won. But they squared him up a little bit. I think it might have been the only 3-run inning he gave up the entire season, was to Kentucky. And it was a night where he was just like, spraying the ball and, really had to go to his secondary, to win. And then we played him again in the Super Regional. And I might have these backwards, actually. We played him again.
That's okay. Nobody's holding to you.
We might in the Super Regional. He pitched him completely different. And they looked like they didn't know what hit them. We won 14-0, and it was awesome. A Super Regional, electric night, 14,000 fans. And I took him out with 2 outs in the 7th inning, I believe, or 8th inning. And he got a huge curtain call. It was the last time he was going to pitch at Alex Box. And, their coach, Nick Mingione, is a really good friend of mine and a great coach. And after the series was over, we just talked about that of like, man, that dude is something else. He just completely flipped the script on us. And, those types of things are valuable when you think about a big league season where you're going to face, teams in your division, maybe 3 times in the 1 year. He's just so complete. Like he can go get the next thing he needs to be the best after every outing.
Yeah. How much have you talked to Paul this season?
We had a great conversation the day before he left to go to spring training or camp.
Yeah.
And, it was great to kind of catch up. I told him last year, I don't need anything from Paul Skenes for the rest of my life. That was a special team, special season, spearheaded by him and Dylan Cruz. I'm just here to be a fan and a supporter. And, but really enjoyed that. We got to get reminiscent about last year a little bit. And really, I love talking to him about, what was ahead of him this year. And just his thoughts on how he goes about things. And, he's the best. And I'll get up there this summer. Obviously we're still in the midst of doing what we want to do to try to get back to Omaha and those types of things right now. But I can't wait to get up there and see him pitch. I texted with him today, texted with his family today, and super proud of him for sure.
The last thing I wanted to ask you, Jay, is just, I think these two kind of go together, but like I was amazed watching him, how he handled like advanced data and processed that and put that into practice. And I remember you telling me something too about whenever you had a meeting with Paul Skenes, you had to do your homework. And I feel like it's the same strand of thinking, of intent, whatever. You know him, better than most. What is it about Paul? Because I think that too is going to that's what enabled him to get here. That's what enables him to have success. What is that in him?
Yeah, I think it's just elite preparation. It comes from a great family. His parents, Craig and Karen, phenomenal people. Obviously gave him a great upbringing, played for a great high school coach, and then went to the Air Force Academy for 2 years and, the discipline that comes along with being a part of the Air Force Academy. I mean, he lived that to a T. I mean, to an absolute T. And I remember meeting with him, to try to recruit him to come to LSU. Once he went in the portal, I flew to Colorado Springs and, put together like the most prepared, recruiting presentation that I had ever done, knowing that I had to be on top of it. And, just to keep us in the fight, because obviously everybody wanted him. And just meeting with him, you knew this guy was thinking and operating on a different level, and connected well, with me and our staff, and connected well with, what he wanted to accomplish, at LSU. And then, taking it into the season, I'd walk in the players' lounge to grab a water or something, and, the laptop's open, the notes the notes of every hitter in the lineup, and I mean, he's literally charting and mapping out the game of how he thinks he needs to go about it based on what he sees and what the scouting report said. And then the part I always love the most is, I mean, it would be 7 innings, 3 hits, maybe a run, 14 strikeouts. And he was always talking about what was next, to get, not who was the next opponent, like what to get better at. And when you think about that quality, you're thinking like Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Corey Seager is the hitter probably now in the big leagues that thought process would resonate with. And he's just really special in that regard.
Jay, thank you so much. I know you just got into Alabama. You've got stuff ahead for your own team, and I appreciate you squeezing me in.
All right. Looking forward to Saturday. You guys enjoy that.
All right. We certainly will. Make sure you like and subscribe. You can get all the content from our other Post-Gazette writers, and we'll talk to you same place, same time, back here tomorrow. All right, Jay. Thank you so much, man. Once again, appreciate it.
You got it. I'll be up there this summer. I'll try to track you down maybe.
Please do. Send me a text. Love to say hi.
Okay.
All right. Take care.